Mr. Houseman, Kaspar.
Martin.
What is hot at this moment? China is hot.
I think still
Germany is hot. China and Germany together are hot. Evergrande. So you're going to tell us and give us a little update on the Evergrande situation.
Yes.
Some new facts.
I hope. But first, I think some small news. I think the Americans made a deal with the British.
Oh yes.
Yes, they made a really big deal because Netflix bought all the rights of Roald Dahl.
Okay.
And for $680 million. They had already some rights, but now they bought everything, so they can they can make musicals out of it. They can films. They can produce series. That's one of the biggest purchases of Netflix in the last decade. So quite interesting because I know you watch. Netflix
I love the big the big friendly giant.
Yeah, yeah. We were thinking about it. How popular are the books of Roald Dahl stories in the US? Are they famous over there? I don't know. Maybe if you know, leave us a comment.
Yes.
And if they are not famous, that explains even more why they bought it, so they can have some new material over there.
Exactly.
I don't know. Okay. Another thing was toast.
Toast, yes. Like toast.
You like toast?
In the morning, yes.
Yeah.
Like
With what?
Yeah, with avocado or with some bacon or a fried egg or whatever.
Okay. Okay. Now, very interesting. Toast.
Hey, you ask me.
Yeah.
Don't ask me.
Toast is a restaurant startup, and they went public this week. They did an IPO. And they were raised with that IPO on $36 billion.
What do they make in that restaurant?
They don't make anything. They deliver and etc. And they have also management software. So also the restaurants have a lot of management dashboards that they can use. On the first day, the stock jumped 56%. 56%. So if you bought it by the opening, then you had a good week. Yeah. They work with 48,000 restaurants in the US.
That's a lot.
So that's really well. So far, so good. It was not always that good. 1.5 years ago, during the first part of the COVID-19 period, they had to lay off 50% of their staff, and the revenues went down with 80%. So now, if you look at the year-to-year basis, just before the API, they had a revenue growth of 180%. So quite a big company on the market. Follow it, and maybe it will develop your direction.
Absolutely.
So that's the smaller things that I think that was really important for investors this week.
I think the biggest thing for the investors this week was the Fed meeting again, and also Evergrande, of course, which you're going to touch on later. But the Fed. And it's really difficult these times. What can we do, as an investor? And I dare to say that we do know a lot about investing, and we normally you can make some sort of prediction. If this happens, then that will happen with the market. But now, Evergrande, they're not going to pay interest, but risk on contagion, etc., etc. The Fed, are they going to increase the interest? Well, they are going to increase the interest. They're going to start tapering. Jobless claims were not good yesterday. And still, the market yesterday went up in the US almost 1.5%.
Yeah.
And so it's really difficult this time, but where the market is looking for something to hold on to.
But you see, this week was a different week because on Monday the markets went down. So also the aftermarket, the European aftermarkets during the US sessions, it was the lowest point of the week, and then it went up and it stabilized a little bit. I think the highest point on Thursday and Friday. It's now Friday halfway. Then
it's also, you saw this. You mentioned it one time before. I think you have this. Specific mechanism that starts buying stocks in the US.
Yeah, plum protection team.
Yeah, you saw it I was literally looking at the market was really negative. I think it was Monday or Tuesday, and at 9:30, boom, boom, boom. Yeah. And that's not retail investors that start buying the dip. It's just the mechanism that starts buying stocks. So, but so what the Fed is going to do, they're going to start by November to not buy any more bonds. So they're buying approximately 20 billion a month. They're going to reduce that, stop that. And then they're also going to start increasing the interest rate to 1.6% in 2024. So you saw, amongst other things, the iShares US Treasury 20 plus year reacting really heavily. First of all, interest rates went back down. And then afterwards, when they made this announcement, you saw it dropping again. So I'm talking about the price of this ETF. Interesting to follow.
Yeah, there are big movements for such a product.
Yeah, for such a product, yeah. We all know the person with the big move, Michael Burry. He has a really big short position in this specific ETF because he's obviously convinced, and he has sort of like the
He wants
confirmation.
to make it a second movie.
The second big move, yeah.
Big short too.
That the interest rate will obviously go up, and the price of this bond ETF will go down. So what's hot, Kaspar? Evergrande.
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 I don't know how to pronounce it.
Well, we know what we're talking about.
Okay. Evergrande. So they were in the news again this week.
Yeah.
First of all, they paid the interest on a domestic bond, so a local Chinese bond.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had to pay on Thursday a bond in US dollars.
Uh-huh.
On Wednesday they said, okay, we're going to pay it, but they didn't pay it, and it was quite quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And they now have like 30 days time, and if they don't pay the interest, then it will go to the direction of a default. You saw
Mm-hmm.
also the stock went up 12% the day before, and on Friday it lost again 10%.
Yeah.
So that's really a hot item. The bonds, the offshore bonds are trading around 30 cents on the dollar. And also this week, China invested $17 billion directly in the banking system. So
Mm-hmm.
not in the retail, in the retail sector, real estate sector, but in the banking system. Okay,
Yeah.
one step back. How big is that Chinese market? That real estate market? That's big.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute and relatively. Because 29% of the GDP of China is related to real estate. 29%. If you compare that, for example, with the US, it is 6%, and if the Netherlands is 9%. So that is
a lot.
It's a big sector.
Yeah.
And then I have a big range between the 5 and the 20% of the demand of commodities worldwide is going to that sector. Worldwide.
In China then,
In China, yeah. So the real estate sector in China consumes on a yearly basis between 5 and 20% of all commodities worldwide. At this moment, there are around 19 million properties empty. Nobody is living there.
90?
Yes, 90 million. So all the people of France or of Germany, we're going to talk about Germany, you can put in those houses.
That's a lot. Eh?
Yeah, and that's 20% of the houses. So the 90 million is 20% of all the houses.
So why are they still building then? Because the tycoon that is at the head of Evergrande said, please workers keep building, keep finishing the project. But if there's stuff already it's available.
Yeah, but they ask for new houses, but they also speculate a lot with the new houses because in China, if you make a profit on your shares, you pay tax on it. But if you make a profit on your houses,
that explains a
yeah,
lot.
that's why the private sector is speculating with houses, and that's why you have so much empty houses.
And you will soon see a lot of measurements.
Yeah. And in the beginning of this year, UBS made a report and about the 52nd biggest real estate companies of China, and only 5 of them received the color green. Green is good. They were compliant. Only 5, so 10%. 8% they received the color red. So in between was orange or yellow. I don't know what the color was. It doesn't matter. And Evergrande was one of those 8 with the color red.
Yeah, so that means that we've just seen the top of the iceberg, depending on how big the other ones are.
Yeah, and so if you look at what happened in China in the last of this year, okay, slowdown of the Chinese economy, still growth, but a slowdown. The beginning of the year, the value of the house prices, the sales went down with 20%.
Yeah.
And the model of that sector is okay. They build something halfway or even before. They ask for a certain amount. They get the amount, and they're going to start a new project.
Yeah.
So that model is not working anymore.
No.
So they were really speculative, but the private sector, but also the whole sector.
Yeah.
And of course, the advantage with that is that you can make a lot of money, but it's also a lot of risk.
Of course, yeah.
So that model is not working anymore. Also, China already put in place some new regulations in that sector. Also, so they brought down, for example, Evergrande was not allowed to borrow more. So that was one of the results of the new regulations.
Exactly.
Okay, and then the last thing I want to say, to bring it in perspective worldwide, I think it's a huge problem in China itself.
Yeah.
I hope I explained it a little bit. If you look at worldwide, the debt, the whole week is talked about $300 billion. Only 35 billion of that is allocated outside of China. So it looks like so far a local problem. But the question is, local problem, how big? Direct? Direct not that much because a lot of the debt is in China. Indirect, how big the problem can be?
Yeah.
I don't know. And the next question, or in relation to that, is what will the Chinese government, what will they do?
Yeah, absolutely.
So those questions, that are important things. So I hope I gave you a little bit more insight that it is really, because some new items said it's not a problem, it's not that big, it's only one company, but I think it is
a big problem.
Yeah.
Because only talk about 5 to 20% of the commodities worldwide.
Worldwide.
So you can imagine the size of that.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
Sorry, last time, and then I already skipped to what's next, and then I give you everything about
I give you the floor,
journey, everything, and then I don't talk anymore. Next week, Evergrande has to pay another interest of 47 million in dollars, and before the end of the year they have to pay 600 million, and by the first quarter of next year 3.5 billion
That's huge
dollars.
amounts of money. Yeah.
So
Okay, well the Germans are not really dealing with that at the moment, I think.
No.
Or maybe they are, because China is really important for Germany, which I'll explain to you now. Okay, we have the elections in Germany on Sunday, and that is really important for Europe. It's the 4th largest economy in the world. They have a GDP of 4,000 billion, so we can say that Germany is a big country. And we have been having there a CDU, so the Christian Democratic, with the CSU as being the main party during many years, and they're not doing so well in the polls. And it is said that the SPD, more like social left sort of party, are now in the 2nd place, but they're growing pretty heavily. What is expected that this results, obviously they have to make a coalition together, and that will make Germany move more towards spending money in infrastructure and green economy, which is of course globally a really whole issue. And the follow-up of Merkel most certainly will be that Mr. Schulz from that SPD. And if we talk about Merkel, how important is she for the worldwide economy? Of course, she's been dealing with Germany as one of the largest countries in the world for 16 years, and we can be there to say that she did well, no? I think.
I like Merkel.
Yeah. So she did a lot of good things. However, I also found a study of the American Institute for Contemporary German Studies. So they study actually the function of Germany in the world and the impact of Merkel in this specific case on the global economy. And it is absolutely a fact that she did domestically really well. They outperformed the Eurozone, they outperformed the European Union as like if you have to have a benchmark on how does a country perform economically. But also she is known for her weakness towards China and Russia, and that is not always been taking her. That people are not so happy about that, you know, in general. We are happy, but it is also known that she leaves Germany with some trouble under the hood, as they say. So there's a few things that she hasn't done that well. Think about energy prices. Germany is one of the countries where they pay the highest price for electricity and gas. So the population has, and that is of course negotiation with other countries. So she hasn't done that really well. And another thing is that's extremely important nowadays, of course, is that they are vulnerable towards the investments that they have done in, or like you could say, the research and development in artificial intelligence. So they are not that sophisticated as other countries might be. And
yeah, look at Wirecard.
Yeah, Wirecard is a very good example, and also they rely a lot on China. So you talked a lot about Evergrande, the impact of if that domestically happens, but China is depending, of course it's a snowball.
Yeah.
So if Evergrande falls, that has a big impact on the Chinese economy. What is really important for Germany is Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz and BMW, the biggest offset market is China. So there is a lot of things that are related indirectly to, of course, what is happening in China and also what effect this might have in this case on Germany. So, Frau Merkel, vielen Dank für alles, was Sie gemacht haben und geschafft hätte.
I think she was the leader of Europe. And the good thing, she does not have a big ego.
No
and she
ego.
worked with all the different countries.
Absolutely,
and I think,
absolutely.
everybody was always looking, if there was a problem, everybody looked at her, and then I think she did
I mean, and 16 years, I mean, you look back to 2005, there's a lot of things that happened here. Eh?
Yeah.
The financial crisis in 2008, 2011 with Greece, Europe on its footsteps. You had a lot of big issues, and she managed to get everybody to keep everybody together.
Vielen Dank.
Thank you for watching.
Hope you liked it. Give us a thumb up, and hope to see you next week.